Thank you for hitting play. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about working hard to survive. I don't believe that's necessary anymore. I mean, that is such an outdated paradigm and way of thinking. Like, maybe it was necessary back in maybe the 60s or the 70s because, the world was not as advanced. You couldn't communicate with someone as fast as you can today. And so, maybe people had to drive somewhere to get a message across or deliver certain goods or something, but I don't think it's necessary in the 21st century. What is the point of having all this technology and not putting it to use for the comfort of the human race? I mean, that's why it was created, no?
Yes.
So all these corporate companies and executives and bosses who are still living in the Stone Age, if you are working your people to the bone, shame on you. Get with the times, man.
Can I just say I'm flattered that I was wearing a vest and then you went and put on a vest as well?
Yes, you inspired me.
Now we are Vestigial Twins.
Vestigial Twins?
Yes.
What's the meaning of the word vestigial?
You can look it up after the show.
I want to look it up now. Vestigial. Is that how you spell it? Ah, I got it right. Forming a very small remnant of something that was once greater or more noticeable.
So when you see a baby that's like got two heads and one is less developed than the other.
That's not what this means. It's a remnant of something that was once greater or more noticeable.
Add twins.
What?
Add twins to your search. Vestigial Twins.
No, it's like here. He felt a vestigial flicker of anger from last night. Fine,
twins.
I'll add twins.
And look at photos.
No! Is that real? Is a form of parasitic twinning where the parasitic twin is so malformed and incomplete that it typically consists entirely of extra limbs or organs. It also can be a complete living being trapped inside the host person. Is this a real thing? Oh my god, is this real?
So working hard or working smart?
I am shocked. Is this real?
Yeah, it's real, man. Get with the times. We live in the future. Vestigial Twins.
Are they conscious? They're usually just sets of legs or extra feet. They don't have their own functional brains. They aren't conscious any more than an arm or a leg is conscious.
Mostly.
They're clearly parasitic in that the person they are attached to can't move them.
And they have to share resources.
Oh my god. I think that is the saddest thing I've ever seen. One of the saddest things I've ever seen.
Really?
It's heartbreaking.
Shit happens, bro.
Anyway, back to the topic at hand. I know a friend who works from 8 to 5:30 every single day. And apparently his bosses called him to their office and they said, we've been looking at your performance and you have a problem with timekeeping. And he actually gets to work on time and he leaves on time. And he was like, what do you mean timekeeping? I come to work on time and I leave on time. And they said, no, you should stay at work more than 5:30 and after 5:30, and you need to be more passionate about your job. Like once you're done with your work and your tasks, you should be going around the office and asking people if they need help with their tasks. And he was like, what? So what is this mentality? I don't understand. If you want your employees to be more productive, you need to be taking care of your employees. You need to be thinking of them as human beings and not as machines. They're...
Slave labor gets things done.
For a while it
You're
does.
gonna build the pyramids with giving them lunch breaks, sending them home at 12 p.m.
Have you been to the pyramids lately?
Lately, but at the time.
At the time, sure, but regardless, that's not the point I'm trying to make. But this dictatorial way of running things today is just completely unacceptable. Who in their right mind accepts to be, living most of their time in an office, locked between four walls? If you're passionate about something and you're doing it because you love it, fine. But if you're trying to make ends meet, if you have, a family to feed, or, you need this money to take care of yourself, then, you shouldn't be wasting all of your time. Like, I think 6-7 hours tops.
Well, you have to understand the dynamic. If this is all you've got, this job, and you need the money to support a family or whatever else it is,
Yes.
And you are put in a position which is somewhat like an ultimatum. Either do it or get out. We'll
Yeah.
find someone else
Yeah.
who will do it for the same or lesser amount of money.
Yeah.
Then you have no choice.
That's true, but here's the thing. Why are people okay with accepting that job? I think everybody should go on strike. And this is not a governmental thing. It's not to do with a specific country. It's the way we conduct business as a race. It's just terrible that we're expected to work so freaking hard for other people while they are on vacation or doing whatever they want to do.
I think it's more appropriate to have a task-based system.
Yes. Task-based. Do you know how much time people waste on the road in transportation? If you calculate the amount of time, the number of hours that people spend on the road, not even at work, just getting to work and going back home after work, that's at a minimum 2 hours per day. Multiply that by 365 days a year.
Now working 365.
Fine, by 200 days a year. That's still a lot of time. That's 400 hours. You're wasting so much time in traffic. That's why whenever now I'm in traffic, I just listen to an audiobook, because I feel like, okay, if I'm going to waste this much time in traffic, then I might as well feed my brain new information. I might as well take advantage of this time.
I guess it also depends what industry you're working in. If you're working in a more technological industry where you can do things vicariously by computer, then maybe you don't have to come in. But if you work in a car building factory where you have to be at work to actually execute your job,
Sure.
then you have no choice.
But most people don't have those technical jobs. Most people need to be home. Unless you're a nurse or a doctor or an engineer that needs to be somewhere.
There's plenty of jobs where you have to be at work, a shopkeeper.
Right.
And if your commute is that long, then you should either relocate or change jobs, which is closer to your home.
True. But even when the jobs are closer to home, my job is, I would say, quite close to where I live.
Yeah, Kuwait's this big.
And it takes me 45 freaking minutes to get there every single morning. The traffic has been insane. And we actually have okay traffic. If you compare it to everywhere else in the world. Dubai is insane. Lebanon is insane. How is Japan?
Not so bad.
Not so bad. Georgia was not so bad either. I hear in Egypt, it's absolutely terrible. It's horrendous. London was terrible.
Also depends on the public transportation system. So in Japan, everybody goes on the metro. And if you go there during rush hour, people are cramming in, pushing you in and crushing you because they all need to get on there.
Yeah.
To afford a car to maintain, it costs a lot of money. The same can be said about a lot of countries. Here, it's a bit easier.
True, but that's one of the things that bothers me about working long hours. It's going back and forth to work, but it's just the long working hours are what really, really bothers me. You don't need to be at an office 5 days a week for 10 hours a day. That's when are you going to have enough time to go home, spend time with your family, to exercise, to do your chores at home, to prepare a healthy meal for yourself, to see your friends, to have a social life, to see your own, your mom, your dad, your extended family.
These are all luxuries.
Yes, and they should not be luxuries. That's what I'm trying to say.
You live in a utopia, Amar.
I really don't.
Up here, you do.
I've been reading this book called The Codes of the Extraordinary Mind, and the guy talks exactly about this. One of the things he talks about so much, but I'm still on chapter 2. But this is one of the things that he talks about, that working hard to succeed or to go anywhere in life is a myth. You shouldn't work hard. You should be working smart. You should be doing the things that you are passionate about and things that you do love. If what you are doing and you work, you go to a 9-to-5 job is your passion, if that's what you want to do with your life and you're passionate about it and you love it, good for you. But that's not the case for, I would say, 80% of the people. I don't know a lot of people who are happy at their jobs or who care about what they're doing.
No.
It's so rare.
The difference is if you work for someone, you cannot have the same kind of passion for what they're doing as you would for yourself, unless you are a shareholder in whatever it is they're trying to achieve. If you're working in the family business and you're working for one of your siblings who's older or whatever, and you're a shareholder in the business.
Yeah.
You share the vision, but maybe not to the extent that whoever you're working for does.
Yeah.
That's one thing, but if you work for a giant faceless company, then you don't care. All you care about is about getting your paycheck.
Yeah.
And you need the paycheck.
You do, but here's the thing. I think even if you're working for a company that has a good intention, like for example, Apple, let's say, they want to bring technology to the world. They want to make the world a better place.
They want to make money.
They also want to make money, but at least they're giving us really great products that they're making money off of. They make great products. I use all their products.
Steve Jobs was a visionary, but the company, Apple, is like every other company.
Yes.
It is profit-driven.
Yes.
That's the bottom line.
Yes.
They realize that their profits are in their innovation and making it ergonomic and nice to use.
And magical to use.
And magical for Omar to use.
No, like, I love that the technology is just embedded. You don't see it. You don't see how complicated it is. And it gives you this magical experience.
Sure.
Like if you take, and the reason I say magical is because if you take the iPhone 11 to not even 20, 30 years ago, if you take it back to 10 years ago when the first iPhone came out, everything on that phone, like from how fast the internet is to the cameras to the screen, they're going to be like, wow, what is this magical product? And it is essentially magical. There's so much we take for granted these days. I'm talking so fast this episode.
We're trying to cram a lot of information.
No, I'm not. I'm just really like, I'm angry at these corporate bosses who think they can just make people work for this many hours. I think it's so unfair and so unrealistic. Like you said, they don't really care as much as you do, and you're getting paid a load of money. They're not. They're getting paid peanuts. So why do you expect them to care as much as you do? Why do you expect them to have so much passion for your business?
I don't.
I
am a CEO. I expect them to be there to do what I tell them to do. Otherwise, they're gone. I will find somebody else.
I know, but like in the case of my friend, like they're like, oh no, you need to be more passionate. You need to stay after hours, even though we don't ask you. That needs to come from you, and I find that ridiculous.
Where do they work?
At an architectural firm.
Well, architecture is, it's kind of a time-free profession.
Is it?
Like
what does that mean, time-free?
That means you need to get the job done. You're not like a call center which operates between these hours.
Right.
You have a project which needs to get done by the time it needs to be submitted.
Yes.
So you need to be more passionate and spend a little bit more time. So
if there's a deadline, yeah.
Well, there always is. It's always a race.
Yeah, but there is a deadline, but if you know the deadline is not due for another 2 weeks and you can get the job done in 2 weeks, even like micromanagement is such a terrible thing. You need to trust the people you hire. There's a reason you hired them in the first place. Unless you really need to rely on the people that you hire, because first of all, you hired them for a reason. They matched your requirements. They are, qualified.
Desperate.
No, they're not desperate. They're qualified, and you hired them because they're qualified. If they weren't qualified, you wouldn't have hired them in the first place. So let them do what you are paying them for. If you are butting into every single thing that they're doing, you're micromanaging, and that's you're really not giving them the space to be productive, or creative, or anything.
Well, it's a more progressive kind of approach to let people do their own thing as long as you get the results. But what if you don't get the results?
No, of course, people are going to make mistakes, and especially when they first start working with you, and notice I said with you, not for you. Even though you're paying them, they are your team members, and you need to treat them with equal respect, and you're just as much part of the team as they are. But anyway, what was I saying? Where was I going? I lost my train of thought. Remind me. So if they slack and they make a mistake, obviously you guys are not going to get along like this from the get-go.
Yes.
There needs to be like a bonding process. You need to earn each other's trust, understand how you like to work, how you like things done, and then with time they'll get there. But obviously it's like a relationship. It's like when you get into a relationship with someone, the first 2 years are apparently the worst.
Is that right?
Yes, because you're still getting into each other's grooves, you're still trying to get to know each other, how you think, what you like, what you don't like. So it's always a constant struggle the first 2 years.
You think it's the most magical part to be in a relationship
No.
for the first, not even 2 years. The
No.
first short period when you have butterflies in your stomach.
Yeah, but the butterflies last for like 2-3 months tops. And then it's like, okay, what now? And that's why a lot of relationships actually, just go bad after 3 months. Because that infatuation disappears. And then you see the person for what they really are, and you see their bad habits, and you're like, what am I doing with this person?
Fire them.
Yes, and that's why there's a 3-month period. It's called a probation period. And people are usually on their best behavior in the probation period. So I find that so stupid. But at least it's a clause. But see, that's the thing about the probation period. I'm talking so fast. The thing about the probation period is you think it's for you to be like, oh, maybe I don't like this person, I'll fire them if I don't like them. It's a mutual thing. If they don't like you too, they get to walk away. It's true.
You applied to work for them. You need them more than they need you.
With them.
You need them more than they need you. So it's a probation for you. If they like you, you can stay, you will be housebroken. If they don't like you, get the out.
I don't believe that. I believe that we all need each other. We all need each other.
Again, this is a very utopian kind of...
It's not utopian, it's true. Listen, I went on Apple's website the other day and I was interested. I was like, what kind of careers do they have? Like, what kind of jobs do they have available? And like, they clearly state that, the number of working hours, first of all, they only work 37.5 hours a week.
Is this the Chinese kids that are putting together the phones?
No.
Oh, we forgot about those. Do they have a probation period? Do they have holidays and leave? Do they have benefits, medical care?
That's a whole...
Slave labor! That's what gets shit done.
Wow! That's a whole other topic. That's a whole other monster that people need to tackle. This is something else.
Why? It's employee-employer. Slave and master.
No! No! No!
You're getting higher every time you disagree.
Okay, that is the extreme to my utopia. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that we all need each other. Even though you're the employer, if you are a terrible employer, you're not going to have a high retention rate of high flyer employees. Because employees who are actually good at what they do and know that they're good at what they do will leave you the moment that you disrespect them or do something that is not professional. And, even if you hire like one high flyer after the next, eventually they're all going to leave you and you're going to end up with a terrible reputation and everybody will say, don't work for that because he micromanages. He doesn't treat his employees right. He or she, it could be either. But, I say we all need each other and that's what really allows us to create great things. It's being in a group. Just because you're the boss doesn't mean that you are better than me. And I truly believe that. That's why, like in a company, and every company I've worked for, I've had just as much respect for the janitor as much as I had respect for the group CEO. In my eyes, they're one person. They're the same person, but each one is doing a different function. I don't look at titles. I don't look at, how important of a person they are in the organization. That's not how I roll. Everybody earns my respect. I treat everybody equally, and I feel like that's the way it should be. Done. This episode is done, unless you have something to say.
No, we'll leave it on your positive note.
Are you working a terrible job? What?
Shh, it's the best.
Are you working at a terrible company? Do you have a micromanager? Do you have a terrible boss? Let us know in the comments and share your pain with us because, We need to revolt. That's the word I was looking for.
And hit subscribe.
Yes, that
thing.
too. Yes.
Got lost in your
I know.
little rant.
All right. You'll see us next time.
Nice.